The Kepler 442b colony's emergency sirens wailed across the crystalline landscape as Commander Zixthan watched his species' most advanced survival shelter crumble like dried leaves. The biometallic structure, designed to withstand asteroid impacts and solar flares, had succumbed to something far more mundane, a simple geological shift that their sensors had failed to detect. 17 cycles of construction, he muttered in his native tongue, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence as he processed the disaster. Around him, his fellow Altarians chittered in distress, their elongated limbs gesticulating wildly as they contemplated their fate on this hostile world. The humans, however, were doing something peculiar. Dr. Sarah Chen crouched beside a pile of twisted metal and shattered bioceramic, not mourning the loss like the Altarians, but examining it with the focused intensity that Zixthan had learned to associate with human problem-solving. Her colleague, Marcus Rodriguez, was already knee-deep in debris, pulling out components that looked utterly destroyed to Altarian eyes. "Sarah, check this out," Marcus called, holding up what appeared to be a mangled communication array. "The quantum mesh is intact. We can work with this." Zixthan's translator struggled with the casual confidence in Marcus's voice. In Altarian culture, when disaster struck, there was a proper mourning period, followed by a systematic evaluation phase, then careful planning, and finally, if deemed feasible, reconstruction. The humans seemed to have skipped directly to some incomprehensible fourth step. "Commander," Dr. Chen approached him, her hands already dirty from scavenging. "We're going to need about 6 hours. Can your people gather anything that looks like circuitry or power cells? Even the damaged stuff?" "Dr. Chen," Zixthan began carefully, "with respect to human tenacity, our shelter is destroyed. The quantum fabricators are offline. The environmental controls are scattered across 3 kilometers, and we are 2 months away from the next supply transport. Perhaps we should focus on rationing our emergency supplies and—" "Oh, we're not rebuilding your shelter," she interrupted, which caused several Altarians to emit distressed chirps. "We're building something better. Marcus, how's the power situation?" Marcus emerged from what had been the shelter's energy core, grinning despite the gray dust covering his face. "Good news. The fusion cells are intact, and I found enough fiber, optic cable to wire a small city. Bad news is we're basically camping for the next few hours." "Camping?" Zixthan's translator produced a questioning harmonic. The concept didn't exist in Altarian culture. "Roughing it. Living primitively but temporarily," Sarah explained, already sketching something on a piece of salvaged metal with a plasma torch set to its lowest setting. "Don't worry, Commander. Humans are excellent at making do." What followed challenged everything Zixthan understood about crisis response. The humans didn't just make do, they thrived. Within an hour, Marcus had jury-rigged a basic atmospheric processor using components from 3 different destroyed systems and what appeared to be his own personal toolkit. Sarah had somehow convinced the scattered pieces of the quantum fabricator to produce basic construction materials, despite the fact that their own engineers had declared it completely inoperative. But the most astounding thing was their attitude. "Hey, Commander," called Jake Morrison, the team's youngest member, who was somehow managing to levitate heavy debris using an improvised anti-gravity field generated from repurposed medical equipment. "Want to see something cool?" Zixthan approached cautiously as Jake led him to what had once been the shelter's central hub. Where there had been sleek organic curves and bio-integrated systems, there was now something that looked like organized chaos. Cables running everywhere, jury-rigged components held together with what appeared to be molecular adhesive, and somehow impossibly holographic displays showing system readouts. "Full environmental control," Jake beamed. "Better air filtration than before, actually. Sarah figured out how to optimize the scrubber algorithms, and Marcus got the fabricators running at 110% efficiency by bypassing the safety protocols." "You bypassed the safety protocols?" Zixthan's voice rose to frequencies that made nearby humans wince. "Relax," Marcus called from somewhere in the mechanical maze. "We know what we're doing, mostly. Hey Jake, can you boost power to Sector 7? I want to test something." "What are you testing?" Zixthan demanded. Sarah looked up from a control panel that definitely hadn't existed an hour ago. Communication array. We're not just fixing local systems, we're networking with every human settlement on the planet. Real-time data sharing, coordinated resource allocation, the works. In 4 hours, you've rebuilt our shelter into something more advanced than what we spent 17 cycles constructing. Oh no. Sarah shook her head. We haven't rebuilt your shelter at all. Zixton felt his dual hearts sink. We've built something completely different. Jake, bring up the network map. A holographic display materialized, showing not just their location, but dozens of connection points across the planet's surface. Data streams flowed between settlements like luminous rivers. Every human outpost is now connected, Marcus explained, wiping his hands on a cloth that was somehow cleaner than his hands had been. Shared processing power, distributed backup systems, coordinated defense networks. When the next disaster hits anywhere on the planet, we'll all know about it instantly and respond collectively. And the best part, Jake added with obvious pride, is the Wi-Fi coverage. Full planetary network, quantum encrypted, with enough bandwidth to stream entertainment from Earth. Zixton stared at the display. His species had built one shelter for one location to protect one group. In the same time it had taken him to process the loss of that shelter, the humans had built a network that protected everyone. How? He whispered. Sarah smiled, her hands already moving to optimize another system. We had Wi-Fi, Commander. The rest was just engineering. As the artificial suns of Kepler 442b set behind the crystal peaks, Zixton watched the humans work. They didn't mourn disasters, they transformed them into opportunities. They didn't build shelters, they built communities. And apparently, they did it all because they couldn't bear to be disconnected from their memes. Perhaps, Zixton thought, there was something to learn from these peculiar creatures after all.